Nikola Jokic needs help. Let's get into this. After a relatively successful first round against the Portland Trailblazers, the Denver Nuggets are currently down 0-3 to the Phoenix Suns, who a lot of people have making out of the Western Conference. But either way, a lot of people expected this series to be pretty good and a pretty close series, and thus far it's been anything but, with the Suns on a verge of a sweep, and nobody expected that coming into this season. Jokic just won the MVP, the Nuggets are starting to get a ton of confidence together, especially guys like Michael Porter Jr., and for whatever reason against the Phoenix Suns, they got completely locked down and everyone kind of froze up. Coming into this matchup, I thought the Phoenix Suns were going to win this matchup just due to the fact that the Nuggets didn't have Jamal Murray, and even if they did have him, I think the Suns just have too much talent. But either way, I thought this series would be pretty close even without Jamal Murray for the Denver Nuggets, but obviously thus far it just completely hasn't been, and the Nuggets have faced so many troubles on their defensive end especially. Taking the struggles point by point and the reason why they're down 0-3, let's start on the defensive end. Obviously when watching these games, you can tell that Chris Paul and Devin Booker, but especially Chris Paul, is absolutely tearing this defense apart. Chris Paul has always had that mid-range game that he uses against basically every single team, and he's obviously very difficult to stop, and I wouldn't expect the Nuggets to completely stop him, but he's just getting wide open mid-range shots at will, which you can't let happen. He's getting them in the pick and roll or the pick and pop with DeAndre Ayton, and it's just play after play, wide open mid-range shot after wide open mid-range shot, especially in game 3, and if you're going to leave him uncontested every single time from that spot, he's literally not going to miss. So that's your first problem for the Denver Nuggets. But another issue is Chris Paul's also wide open from the 3-point range, and he can also hit that very effectively as well and efficiently. So that's another problem. But besides Chris Paul just scoring from the mid-range or the 3-point range or even getting all the way to the basket, what Chris Paul does best, as we all know, is pass the ball and facilitate, and he's completely picking apart this Denver Nuggets defense. You see him fake passes to the 3-point line and then just kick it to a wide open guy for a dunk or a layup. This guy's just completely picking apart their defense in terms of his playmaking ability, which he does to a lot of teams, but this is bad for the Nuggets. Chris Paul just does his damage from a lot of spots, but really it's all set up by that pick and roll and pick and pop defense with DeAndre Ayton, and quite frankly the Nuggets have not been able to stop that, and that's the reason why he's getting these wide open shots basically all over the court, or he's passing to a wide open guy cutting to the basket or for a wide open 3. It's all set up by that pick and roll and pick and pop with DeAndre Ayton and Chris Paul. So that's really the first issue, but I didn't even mention Devin Booker's name in this video yet, and obviously the Suns have Devin Booker, and he's one of the most impossible guys to stop on the offensive end as well. Individually, he has that great mid-range game where he's that great post turnaround fadeaway with his amazing footwork, as well as he's a great 3-point shooter. That's what he makes his money off of, and he can also get all the way to the basket, and he also improved in his passing and playmaking ability as well. So not even mentioning Devin Booker's name, the Nuggets are already getting destroyed on the defensive end, but then on top of that, the Suns still have Devin Booker. It's a really big issue for this Nuggets team, and I really think the reason why the Nuggets are down 0-3 is mostly due to their defense, but also another big issue is Jokic is going off, but he's just not getting help. At this point, especially after winning the MVP, we've become accustomed to seeing Jokic put up absolutely incredible stat lines, and we've been taking it for granted. This guy puts up a 40-point triple-double like it's nothing almost every other night, and after the Denver Nuggets lost Jamal Murray to an injury, Jokic kind of had to put up those numbers just to win games because he wasn't getting much help from the other players on his team. I will definitely give Michael Porter Jr. credit because he's definitely excelled and stepped up his game ever since Jamal Murray went down, and he kind of took that role in a sense of what Jamal Murray was able to do. But either way, it's not the same, and also other players need to help Jokic out, because especially I saw in game 3, Jokic was going off in that game, but he just wasn't getting much help, and the defensive end was obviously a big struggle for them. And when the Suns were pouring on and just getting easy bucket after easy bucket, and then you pan to the other end when the Nuggets were on the offensive end and Jokic was struggling just to score, not due to any fault of his own, just due to the fact that they're almost double and triple teaming him, and his teammates weren't making shots. It was a mess. And at this point, especially after being down 0-3 and showing no signs of life basically for the most part for the Nuggets, I think it's pretty safe to say the Nuggets are going to lose this series, and they have to look on to the offseason, especially due to the fact that no NBA team in NBA history has ever come back from an 0-3 deficit. But this Nuggets team is still definitely very talented and pretty well coached, but what should they do going into the offseason to help out Nikola Jokic because it's obvious that he needs some help. Well, first they got to get Jamal Murray healthy, and he will be healthy going into next season hopefully, and that'll be a huge boost for that Denver Nuggets team, so that's great for them. But on top of that, they have to get more playmakers similar to Michael Porter Jr. that can score the basket and don't necessarily need Jokic on the court for it. Guys who can get buckets on their own. When Jokic is on the court, if you can basically just cut to the basket, you're going to get easy buckets. He always finds guys cutting to the basket for wide open dunks or layup, or even when you're wide open from that 3-point line, he's obviously definitely going to hit you. He has that ability. But the issue is Jokic can't play 48 minutes per game. When Jokic is off the court, or maybe Jokic is struggling for whatever reason that game, you need a guy that can take over by himself and really keep the team afloat or even take the team to another level. And I personally think Jamal Murray has shown the ability to be able to do so, and I believe he could do so. The only issue I have with Jamal Murray is he's not consistent enough. He was definitely insanely good in that NBA bubble, but this season he kind of fell off a little bit before his injury, and I really need to see that consistency from him. But even besides Jamal Murray, I think they do need another guy off the bench specifically when Jokic comes out, and they could just have a guy that can score buckets at will. And the first guy you think of when I mention a guy like this who can be a six-man, come off the bench and just put absolute buckets up is Lou Williams. But the issue with Lou Williams is getting older, and I don't even know if he's going to continue to play. And if he does, I don't know if he would go to the Denver Nuggets, obviously. But what I'm suggesting is the Nuggets really need to get a guy similar to him, just a guy who can come off the bench as a six-man or whatever off the bench and just put up buckets. A guy that comes to my mind when I mention a guy like this is a guy like Jalen Brunson, who's going to be a free agent this year from the Dallas Mavericks. The only issue with him is he's going to probably need some decent money. He's been playing extremely well for the Mavericks, and I don't even know if he wants to leave that Maverick situation. But if he did want to leave, he also might want to be a starter on another team, so it might not be the greatest, or it might not be that realistic, I should say. But as a fit-wise, as someone who can come off the bench and just put absolute buckets up, I think Jalen Brunson's a great guy, and he's very underrated as well. But at the end of the day, no matter who these guys end up getting, they just got to get a guy who can come off the bench and put up buckets. That's what I think the Nuggets really need. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think Jokic does need help, or do you think Jokic could handle this and maybe he doesn't need help? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy, please leave a like and subscribe and hit that post notification bell. It really helps me out a lot. Until the next time, peace out, guys.